Okay, guys, we're starting the barrier bosses. Before I get into my setup, I just wanted to point out, in case you guys need to level up around this point, one of the methods you could level up a little bit faster is by equipping both the spiked armor and the Hella hammer, which it only crits or misses. It's good for fighting metals. The only thing you have to worry about doing with this strategy is that after you take care of the metals, you won't be able to just regular attack the other guys off as easily, because again, it's just only going to crit or miss. So you might need to use your Kazap, or maybe use some items like the Icicle Dirk or Lightning Staff, or even the Dream Blade just to put them to sleep first. And also, of course, the Sands of Time, not Sand of Times. For if they run away. Spiked armor is mostly just when they attack, sometimes they'll reflect damage, so it sometimes gives you an extra point of damage too. And occasionally it'll actually kill them, but I don't think that works on king metals. It still doesn't hurt to use. The spiked armor is more optional, so don't worry too much about it. Sadly, the mirror shield doesn't reflect the damage the same way, as if I remember right. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in a later recording. Anyway, for Pruslas, he's probably the toughest one to do at this level. If I really wanted to make this a little easier, I'd grind a bit more, but this is possible to do now. And while you could do it with almost any equipment setup, the ideal setup I found right now is using the Miracle Sword, so I have to heal less so I can get more damage out. And using something with 15 defense on my accessory, because he's slow anyway, you may as well just take a little bit less damage. It helps a lot in the end. Instead of using the Meteorite Bracer. I really should be doing that more often. Sometimes I literally just put on the Meteorite Bracer when I don't really need it. So, something to keep in mind for if you ever want to do something like this. The Zenithian Shield's going to be important in the beginning because he can use Kasap, and you don't want that to be landing on you. I mean, you can survive it, but it's not pleasant. The other weapons are not really needed for this, though you could use the Massacre Sword, but I honestly think you're just better off dealing damage. So, that's the plan. I may have to re-record this at some point, but hopefully I won't need to. This is still chancy, but we could do it. Anyway, he's going to attempt to fool me. I don't give a shit. Alright, Pruslas. First thing we got to do, Zenithian Shield. Something I did try was trying using the spiked armor here, but it's not worth it. Anyway, what we want to do is try to stay above 230 HP. We can still keep above. He crits for about 234 right now for me. I could chance it. Yeah. He usually only crits on the first hit and then defends. Not always. Bounces off, and of course he gets it off just now. Of course, asshole. This is going to be a little more tricky now. Luckily, crits ignore defense, so the defense down's not going to matter. Good. Yeah, he only has enough for like 2 Kasaps. I'm going to chance it again. Okay, we're okay. Oh no, can't chance this one. Got a full heal. Don't worry, if you put all the seeds on yourself, you're going to be fine. MP will be perfectly fine. Even if you don't, I imagine it would. Alright, now we got a full heal. Luckily, this guy already has like pretty low defense anyway, so saps, you just don't need it. Not for the hero anyway. We're okay. Good, but I think I'd rather full heal just in case now. I probably could have gotten away with a Miracle Sword hit there, but eh. Every now and then I just get that feeling. But yeah, it's kind of funny, like, I'm glad yeah, we can get away with it. The hero... Oh, and he defends, yeah. See, whenever he crits, he tends to defend right after. Not always, but that's been my luck, so I'm not sure if that's scripted always that way, but in any case, I'll take advantage of it. But yeah, the hero has a lot more options when it comes to weaponry and how he does battles. For instance, the Dragon's Bane is actually pretty useful in some of the wild encounters. All right, we got him. Because the Dragon's Bane will always do more damage than just about any of the swords. Like, even if it's just a little bit, like maybe like 10 more damage, it's still pretty good, especially if you really need that one-hit KO. Sadly, none of the dragon bosses we have are going to really require the Dragon's Bane, though. The one that we have coming up is you don't need it. You don't want to use that because he just keeps summoning, so. But just want to point that out. Like, all the weapons have their uses, and we got to find out Miracle Sword's strength here. It might pop up later, too, but we'll see. For now, I'll meet you at the next gate boss, or whatever you want to call them. Alright, next up, we got Barbatos. The setup's is going to be just slightly different. It's more of our normal. I'm going with the Falcon Blade and putting back the Meteorite Bracer because this guy is fast. If you don't use it, you're probably going to get outsped. The Falcon Blade will almost always do a little bit more damage than the Liquid Metal Sword unless they have excuse me, I got a little bit of hiccups. Unless they have particularly high defense. Generally, anyway. That's been what I've been noticing. I think there might be, again, a couple other circumstances, but I'm just using the Falcon Blade for the time being. Yeah, there's nothing much else other than, like, you're going to want the Zenithian Shield for sure equipped on you, because even though you could lower the magic damage by using the Mirror Shield, his breath damage is where the real pain is going to be. So, don't worry about anything else. Yes, we know. Alright, this is going to be another attack and heal strategy for the most part. Ooh, yeah, that's another good thing about the Falcon Blade. You also get an extra chance to crit. Sure, it's not going to happen as often as, say, Alina using her Falcon Knife earrings. Still very good. The Falcon Knife earrings are technically superior, though. Mostly for metals, at least. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and heal about now. There's no real threshold. You're just going to want to make sure you're not going to get one shot by getting War Cried or something like that. So I'd say probably under 100 is... Once it hits under 100 heal, I would say to play it safe. Just in case you get, you know, that intimidating screen, and then he, like, gets a whole two-round attack round on you. We should be good. That's probably where he's just a tiny bit tricky, when he does that scream. But generally, yeah, you don't have to worry. Yeah, really not much to Barbatos. Just, you know, try not to get screamed at. Sadly, that's the best we can do for breath resistance there. I mean, actually, technically, if you really wanted to, you could put on the... I don't know why I full healed here. You could technically put on the dragon armor to reduce the breath damage a little bit more, but then the magic damage would do more to you. So you're really just better off having a nice balance against him. There might be I think there's one of the boss fights in the future where you're going to want to have different pieces of equipment on to change during certain phases. That's something I really didn't utilize much of in the other challenge runs with Maya and Mina or Boria and Hero. Mostly because they had more limited armor anyway. So, really, I think it only matters for those with more, like a lot of equipment options. I think Maya and Mina might have had a couple extra pieces of equipment though, because they're female and females get certain equipment only. So I don't know. I'm already done with them, but if someone wants to perfect the strategy and share with me something I did, feel free. I'm just showing what has been working for me. I think this is why, though... Okay, but we got him. This is kind of why, though, that a challenge run with one healer and just a fighter would be a little boring, because you'll probably just get this, but, you know, with 2 characters. It still could be interesting, though. I mean, I've thought of maybe doing a Torniko and Mina fight, or Torniko and Kirill playthrough, because Torniko is a little bit different since he has those random things he might do during a battle. I don't know if I'm that thrilled, but if someone actually wants me to, I might try and do it. Anyway, that was Barbatos Slim. Let's go ahead and check out the Mr. Dragon Man and his brothers at the next fight here. Okay, now we're at Rashaverak. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right. So for this one, there's a slightly different strategy. Don't worry about what weapon you're wielding. What you really need is something that's going to hit a group of enemies, and the Icicle Dirk is very good for that. If you misplaced the Icicle Dirk, like maybe you accidentally sold it or discarded it, well, first, shame on you. But you could also use the Staff of Divine Wrath. Excuse me. Staff of Divine Wrath instead. The problem with that, though, is the Staff of Divine Wrath, while it has similar damage, it also has a larger damage range, so it might not kill them all at the same time. That's what you really need to do, is kill them all at the same time. If you don't have either, or you don't want to deal with that, you can also just level up until you have Kazap. That will do the same, if not better, to kill all these guys. So I'm just trying to do this a little bit earlier than normal. Essentially, what we're going to be doing is just Icicle Dirking and killing and healing. Now, they do have Breath Attack, but it's very, very poor. Don't worry about it. I tried to run a test run with using the Dragon Armor. It's not worth making that basically do no damage, because the real danger is their attack. And the Dragon Armor does not have as much defense as your Liquid Metal Armor. I could have sworn these guys also cast some magic, but I was mistaken with one of their Recolor brothers that cast Kaswoosh. But essentially, yeah, just Icicle Dirk them down. See, the Staff of Divine Wrath could do up to 60 damage to them sometimes, but also could do it like down to 30. Well, this one seems to be averaging between a high 50s, mid 50s to high 40s. I think we can get away with another. They do about 40 each, so making sure you're above 120 health. Maybe a little bit more, probably like 125 by the end of a round, and you're good. Because I don't think they can do any desperate attacks or critical hits. If they can, then that'll be a shocker to me. Oh, so 42, interesting. Still, that's pretty good. I'm just looking at I was only like vaguely looking at the damage before, but okay, yeah. So mid 40s seems to be the average. All right, full heal. Essentially, we're just kind of playing the patience game here. If you have Kazap, this will be over a lot sooner. I'm just trying to do this at an earlier level. All these guys are possible at this level. The same probably will not be said with Pissarro the Manslayer. We can get away with another. Uh-oh. Luckily, I'm going to have to do another Icicle Dirk. It was slightly off on their HP, but that's okay. As long as you kill them at the same time, you're fine. But, alright, that's another one down. All we got left is Aamon in his weaker form. I'm not looking forward to fighting him later. His real form in Chapter 6, my god. Anyway, I'll see you at the last fight. Okay, So we're here at Aamon, and once again, I changed my setup just slightly. This time, I'm going to start off using the liquid metal sword, just because I need to get rid of some of the add-ons in the beginning of the fight. And also, I'm going with the mirror shield instead of the Zenithian shield, because one, the Zenithian shield only blocks some breath of damage, and two, I don't want to have to be using it every so many rounds to cast Bounce. Aamon has smart AI, so if you put Bounce on, he'll just attack, and that does more damage than some of the spells do when you have the mirror shield on. Excuse me. So, I don't know why I'm so hiccupy during this recording. Probably because I ate an hour ago. In any case, so this is a case where the mirror shield's a little more useful. While also, it'll do a little extra damage to him. Not a lot, just a tiny bit while he's casting magic at you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and go faster. There we go. Alright, so first things first, let's take out one-shot the Dueling Ghouls. The reason I have this instead of the Falcon Blade is because these guys have a pretty good dodge. And I don't want to have one of my Falcon Sword hits hit and then the other miss. I'd rather just have it hit or miss, be done with it. But yeah, get rid of them first. If you have Kazap, that's a good place to use it. I wouldn't bother using like the Ice Sword here. It honestly is not worth it. Anyway, let's do a quick damage comparison. 116. I'm going to have to heal, but remember 116. But yeah, the damage from this is negligible. And but 60 plus 58 is about 118. So it's roughly the same, but you get an extra chance to crit. That's how I see that. So yeah, that's where why the Falcon Sword can be a little bit better in some situations. But like as you saw with the gray dudes there, it was just easier to just one-shot them instead of having a chance of missing. But yeah, his damage is just kind of negligible all around now. Everything's roughly the same. If I had the Zenithian shield on, I'd be taking a little bit more damage and I wouldn't be able to just focus on attacking. Keep in mind, I only did a one sample comparison. There's a chance that the liquid metal sword might be slightly better. But I like the idea of an extra crit chance being better. This is stuff I look out for. Yeah, see, look, there you go. One thing I also wondered about was if poison actually does damage to these guys. I mentioned that when I did Maya and Mina's Chapter 6 Aamon fight. I wasn't sure if whenever I poisoned him, if it actually was doing damage to him or not, but it doesn't show you anything, and you couldn't be sure, really. But that's one of those few statuses that doesn't really have a lot of info for Dragon Quest IV. I looked around online, at least Googling it, and... oh, there we go. And yeah, there really isn't much info. And I wonder if that would be useful for maybe if Alina did a some sort of challenge run, or for Maya in the future, who knows. Alright, anyway, there goes Aamon in his basic form here. All we got left now is the Pissarro the Manslayer. I probably am going to have to grind a bit, though, for him. I mean, I'm going to try to do a test run at this level, but I don't think it's going to work. If I find anything interesting, I'll show you guys it, but otherwise it's going to be Pissarro the Manslayer next. I'll see you then.